The small human ship floated quietly in the darkness of space. Commander Li Guan stood on the bridge, watching the stars through the main window. His hands were folded behind his back as he studied the empty space around them. The ship was called Use Horizon, and it was humanity's first real attempt to explore beyond their own solar system. "Sir, we are getting some strange readings on the long-range scanners," said Park Min-ho from his station. He was the tactical officer and had been watching the screens carefully for the past hour. His dark eyes showed worry as numbers flashed. Across his display, Li Guan walked over to look at the data. "What kind of readings, Min-ho?" "Something big is coming toward us. It's very big. The computer says it is at least 10 times larger than our ship." Park Min-ho's fingers moved quickly over his controls. "It is moving fast. Faster than anything we have ever built." Dr. Kim Nar looked up from her research station. She was the team's xenobiologist, the expert on alien life. Her job was to study any new forms of life they might find. Could it be natural? Maybe a large asteroid or comet? "No, Doctor. The movement pattern is too regular, too controlled. This is definitely a ship." Park Min-ho's voice was steady, but everyone could hear the tension in it. Li Guan felt his heart beat faster. This was it. This was what humanity had been wondering about for centuries. Were they alone in the universe? The answer was coming toward them at incredible speed. "How long until it reaches us?" he asked. 15 minutes, sir. Send a message on all frequencies. Tell them we are peaceful explorers from Earth. We want to make contact and learn about other civilizations." Li Guan returned to his command chair. His hands gripped the armrests tightly. Dr. Kim Nara began preparing her equipment. She had dreamed of this moment since she was a child. First contact with an alien species. She wondered what they would look like, how they would communicate, what their culture might be like. The minutes passed slowly. Everyone on the bridge was quiet, focused on their work. The alien ship grew larger on their screens. When it finally appeared through the main window, all three humans stopped what they were doing and stared. The ship was massive. It looked like a dark metal city floating in space. Strange lights blinked along its surface, and it had sharp angles that hurt to look at. The human ship looked like a tiny insect next to it. "Sir, they are scanning us," Park Min-ho reported. "Powerful scans. Much more advanced than our technology." Suddenly a voice filled the bridge. It spoke perfect English, though it sounded cold and emotionless. "Small vessel, you will prepare to be boarded. Resistance will result in immediate destruction." Li Guan stood up. "This is Commander Li Guan of the human exploration vessel U.S. Horizon. We come in peace. We would like to establish diplomatic relations with your people." "You will prepare to be boarded," the voice repeated. "Your weapons are inferior. Your shields are weak. Compliance is required." Park Min-ho checked his tactical display, "Sir, they are right. Their energy output is incredible. Our shields would not last more than a few seconds against their weapons." "Lower shields and prepare for boarding," Li Guan commanded. He did not like it, but they had no choice. Starting a fight they could not win would help no one. A bright light filled the space between the two ships. When it faded, 3 figures stood on the human bridge. It had not used an airlock or shuttle. It simply appeared. The aliens were tall, at least 7 feet in height. Their skin was gray and seemed to be made of some kind of metal. Their eyes glowed with a cold blue light. They wore no clothing, but their bodies looked like they were covered in armor. One of them stepped forward. "I am War Prime Kethvel of the Valthari Empire. You are now prisoners of the Empire." His voice was the same one they had heard over the communications system. Li Guan tried to remain calm. "I am Commander Li Guan. These are my officers, Park Min-ho and Dr. Kim Nara. We represent the human race from the planet Earth. We are explorers, seeking peaceful contact." War Prime Kethvel looked at each human carefully. His glowing eyes seemed to see right through them. Humans, small, weak, fragile bodies, limited physical capabilities. "Your species is inferior. We may be different, but we are intelligent beings. We have built ships that can travel between stars. We have art, music, literature, science. Dr. Kim Nara stepped forward as she spoke. Her voice was brave despite her fear. Irrelevant. Your military strength is pathetic. Your ship is primitive. Your weapons are toys. War Prime Kethvel waved one hand, and suddenly all the humans found they could not move. Some kind of invisible force held them in place. We can learn from each other, Li Guan said with difficulty. The alien force was making it hard to speak. Our species could be allies. Your species will serve as an example. The Velthari Empire will conquer your world easily. Other species will see how quickly weak civilizations fall. This will prevent unnecessary conflicts in the future. Park Minho struggled against the force holding him. You have not seen what humans can do when we fight for our homes and families. War Prime Kethvel made a sound that might have been laughter. Your homeworld has 7 billion individuals. Our scans show limited military technology, weak defensive capabilities. The conquest will take less than 1 planetary rotation. You are making a mistake, Dr. Kim Nara said. You see only our bodies and our simple technology. You do not understand what makes humans strong. There is nothing to understand. Strength is measured in weapons, shields, and armor. Your species has none of these in sufficient quantity. Or Prime Kethvel turned to his companions. Prepare the human ship for transport. These specimens will be useful for studying human weaknesses. The alien force grew stronger, and the 3 humans found themselves unable to speak or move. They could only watch as their ship was pulled into the massive alien vessel. Through the window, they saw other Velthari ships appearing, dozens of them, entire fleet. War Prime Kethvel spoke into a communication device. Begin broadcast. To all systems, the Velthari Empire will demonstrate our power by conquering the human homeworld. Other species will observe how easily weak civilizations are defeated. Estimated conquest time, 2 standard days. As their ship disappeared into the alien fleet, Li Guan could only think about Earth and the 7 billion people who had no idea what was coming for them. The aliens had made their choice. They saw humans as weak and easy to defeat. They were about to learn how wrong they were. The massive Velthari fleet moved through space like a dark storm cloud. War Prime Kethvel stood in the command center of his flagship watching the stars ahead. Earth was still 3 days away at their current speed, but he was already planning. The victory celebration began broadcasting to all civilizations within 50 light years. He commanded his communications officer. Let them witness the power of the Velthari Empire. The message went out across the galaxy. Dozens of alien species received the transmission showing the human prisoners and the approaching fleet. War Prime Kethvel appeared on screens throughout known space. I am War Prime Kethvel of the mighty Velthari Empire. You are about to witness the conquest of a primitive species called humans. Their world will fall in less than 2 of their planetary rotations. Watch and learn what happens to weak civilizations that dare to explore space without proper strength. A distant world, the Zeph Council watched the broadcast with interest. These insect-like beings had fought the Velthari before and barely survived. The humans appear very fragile, clicked Council Leader Thex. Their technology is centuries behind ours. This will be a massacre. The aquatic Murtai received the message in their underwater cities. Poor creatures, bubbled Elder Nalish. They should have stayed on their homeworld. Space is too dangerous for such weak beings. Even the proud warrior race called the Korth shook their massive heads. These humans have no natural weapons, no thick skin, no enhanced strength, growled War Chief Brulak. They will break like thin glass under Velthari power. But while alien civilizations prepared to watch what they thought would be easy entertainment, something very different was happening on Earth. Admiral Choi. Hannah stood in the Earth Defense Command, centered deep beneath the Pacific Ocean. The room was filled with officers and scientists working frantically at computer stations. Red. Warning. Lights flashed on every wall. How long do we have? She asked her aide, Captain Bae Subin. 72 hours until the alien fleet reaches Earth orbit, Admiral. Our deep space sensors confirm at least 40 ships, each one larger than our biggest space station. Admiral Choi Hannah studied the tactical display. The enemy fleet was indeed massive, but she had not become Earth's top military commander by giving up easily. What do we know about their capabilities? Dr. Song Hyami looked up from her computer terminal. She had been working without sleep since the alien transmission arrived. Her eyes were red from staring at data, but her mind was sharp. We intercepted some scanner data when they captured the UES Horizon. Their energy weapons are at least 10 times more powerful than ours. Their shields can probably stop our most advanced missiles. Probably? Admiral Choi Hanna noticed the uncertainty in the scientist's voice. Admiral, we have never faced technology this advanced, but I found something interesting in the data. Their systems seem designed for fighting other high-tech civilizations. Everything is based on energy shields, long-range weapons, and computer-controlled targeting. General Yoon Tae-ho entered the command center. His uniform was dusty from inspecting ground defenses around the world. Admiral, all major cities are evacuating civilians to underground shelters. Military forces are taking positions, but our weapons are not designed to fight spaceships. What about our space fleet? Asked Captain Bae Subin. 15 destroyers, 30 cruisers, and about 200 fighter craft. Altogether, they would not equal one of their ships in firepower. Admiral Choi Hanna looked at the numbers on her screen. They were terrible odds. Dr. Song Hyami stood up suddenly. Admiral, I think I understand something important. These aliens fight like computers. Everything is logical, planned, efficient. They expect their enemies to fight the same way. What do you mean, General Yoon? Tae-ho moved closer to listen. Look at their transmission. They announced exactly when they would attack. They told us how long it would take to defeat us. They broadcast it to the entire galaxy like a scheduled event. This is not how humans fight. Admiral Choi Hanna began. To understand. You think their experience with other alien species has made them predictable? Yes, Admiral. Every civilization they have conquered probably fought the same way. Long-range energy weapons, defensive shields, organized formations. They expect us to line up our ships and have a proper space battle. Captain Bae Subin looked confused, but Admiral, what else can we do? Our ships have to fight their ships. Dr. Song Hyami smiled for the first time in days. Maybe they do not have to fight like ships. Meanwhile, on the Velthari flagship, War Prime Kethvel was reviewing human military capabilities with his tactical officers. The data showed primitive chemical rockets, simple nuclear weapons, and basic energy shields. Their largest warships are smaller than our scout vessels, reported Subcommander Velanash. Their weapons cannot penetrate our armor. This will be the easiest conquest in Empire history. Good. Make sure all alien civilizations receive detailed recordings of the battle. They must see how quickly inferior species fall to Velthari might. War Prime Kethvel was already imagining the fear this would create among other potential enemies in their holding cell. The 3 human prisoners could hear parts of the alien conversations. Park Min-ho whispered to his companions, They really think this will be easy. They do not understand humans at all, Dr. Kim Nara whispered back. They see only our physical weaknesses and simple technology. Commander Lee Juan listened to the alien officers talking about Earth's defenses. They are making the same mistake that Earth's enemies have always made throughout our history. They think superior weapons automatically mean victory. Back on Earth, the preparation continued without rest. Admiral Choi Hanna gathered her best officers and scientists. Dr. Song, I want you to work on turning their advantages into weaknesses. General Yoon, prepare ground forces for unconventional warfare. Captain Bae, get our pilots ready for tactics they have never trained for. What kind of tactics, Admiral? Asked Captain Bae Subin. It's the kind that no logical, computer-minded alien would ever expect. You're going to fight like humans, not like the civilized species they are used to defeating. As Earth's defense forces prepared for the impossible, the Velthari fleet continued its approach. War Prime Kethvel watched the blue-green planet growing larger on his screens. In just over 2 days, it would all be over. Little creatures, he said to himself. This will barely count as a real battle. He had no idea how wrong he was about to be. The Velthari fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of Earth's solar system. 40 massive warships appeared in perfect formation, their dark hulls gleaming against the starlight. Warprime Kethful stood on his command bridge watching the small blue planet in the distance. "Begin long-range scans of their defensive positions," he ordered. "I want to know exactly how many ships they have managed to gather." Sub-Commander Velanash worked at his station for several minutes before reporting. "Warprime, we detect approximately 245 human vessels in various positions around their planet. Most are very small fighter craft. Our largest ships are still inferior to our smallest escort vessels." "Excellent. Excellent. Begin the standard conquest formation. Heavy cruisers in front, destroyers providing support fire, scouts maintaining perimeter." Security Warprime Kethvel settled into his command chair. This would be over quickly. On Earth, Admiral Choi Hana watched the alien fleet approach on her tactical screens. The enemy ships moved in perfect geometric patterns, exactly as Dr. Song Hayami had predicted. Every vessel knew its place and maintained precise distances from the others. "All ships. This is Admiral Choi Hana. Execute Plan Delta immediately. Remember, we are not fighting their kind of war today." Commander Bei Suban sat in the pilot seat of his fighter, the EDF Falcon. Around him, 24 other pilots prepared. For launch from the hidden base on the moon, these were Earth's best pilots, volunteers who understood they probably would not survive the next hour. "Falcon Squadron, remember the briefing. We are not trying to win a space battle. We are trying to teach them something about humans." Bei Suban checked his weapons one final time. His fighter carried no advanced energy weapons or shields. Instead, it was loaded with simple chemical explosives and had been modified for maximum speed and maneuverability. The Velthari fleet reached Earth's orbital space and took standard battle positions. Warprime Kethvel expected the human ships to form defensive lines and begin exchanging long-range fire. This was how every civilized species fought in space. Instead, something completely unexpected happened. 25 human fighters suddenly appeared from behind Earth's moon, flying at maximum speed directly toward the center of the alien formation. They made no attempt to avoid enemy fire or maintain safe distances. They simply flew straight at the largest Velthari ships like arrows shot from a bow. "What are they doing?" Sub-Commander Velanash stared at his tactical display in confusion. "Those fighters cannot possibly damage our shields with such a direct attack." Warprime Kethvel watched the human fighters approaching. Their tactics made no sense. Any logical commander would use the fighters to harass enemy flanks or protect larger ships. This is obviously some kind of mistake in their battle planning. The Velthari ships opened fire with their energy weapons. The beams cut through space and struck the human fighters. Several exploded immediately, their pilots dead in seconds. But the remaining fighters kept coming, never slowing down or changing course. Commander Bei Suban felt his fighter shake as an energy beam passed close to his hull. 2 of his squadron were already gone, but he kept flying straight toward the massive alien command ship. "Falcon Squadron, stay on target. Make every death count." The human fighters reached the Velthari formation and did something no alien species had ever done before. Instead of firing weapons and turning away, they crashed directly into the enemy ships. Each fighter became a guided missile, its pilot choosing death to deliver maximum damage. Commander Bei Suban aimed his fighter at the bridge section of Warprime Kethvel's flagship. As Velthari energy beams destroyed his engines and tore holes in his hull, he used his last moments to make sure his fighter hit exactly where it would cause the most damage. The explosion was small compared to the massive alien ship, but it happened in exactly the right place. The flagship's main sensor array was destroyed. Several command systems went offline. Warprime Kethvel picked himself up from the floor of his bridge. Emergency lights flashed red and alarms sounded throughout. "The ship. Report. What happened?" "The human fighters crashed into our ships deliberately, Warprime. They made no attempt to survive the attack." Sub-Commander Velanash sounded shocked. "We lost 3 escort vessels and suffered damage to 7 others, including this ship. Possible. No rational pilot would destroy himself for such limited tactical gain." But even as Warprime Kethvel spoke, more human ships were attacking in ways that defied all military logic. Captain Han Jion commanded the destroyer EDF Seoul, one of humanity's largest warships. Instead of staying at long range and firing missiles, she ordered her ship to move directly into the alien formation. "Captain, we cannot survive in close combat against their superior weapons," warned her tactical officer. "We are not trying to survive, Lieutenant. We are trying to hurt them as much as possible before we die." Captain Han Jiang had volunteered for this mission, knowing it was suicide. Her ship had been modified with extra armor around the engines and loaded with every explosive device Earth could provide. The EDF Sol flew straight into the middle of the enemy fleet, taking enormous damage from multiple Valthari ships. Its shields failed immediately, and armor began melting under alien energy weapons. But Captain Han Jiang kept her ship moving forward until it rammed directly into a Valthari heavy cruiser. The explosion destroyed both ships instantly. The shockwave damaged several nearby alien vessels and sent debris flying through the enemy formation. War Prime. Kethval watched his tactical display with growing alarm. In the first 10 minutes of battle, the humans had destroyed 4 Valthari ships and damaged 8 others. But they had done it by sacrificing their own vessels and crews without any attempt at survival. War Prime. This is not how space battles are supposed to work, Sub-Commander Velenash said quietly. They are fighting like they do not care if they live or die. More human ships appeared from different directions, all using the same impossible tactics. Fighters that flew directly into enemy guns, destroyers that rammed alien cruisers, transport ships filled with explosives that detonated themselves next to enemy vessels. The Valthari had superior technology, our weapons, stronger shields, and more ships. But they had never faced an enemy that treated every battle as if it were the last fight of a cornered animal. Every human ship that died took alien vessels with it. On the surface of Earth, Dr. Song Hayami watched the battle through orbital sensors. "Admiral, the aliens are starting to change their formations. They're pulling back from close combat." Admiral Choi Hanna nodded grimly. They expected to fight a civilized space battle with proper rules and logical tactics. Instead, they are learning what happens when humans fight for their home. In the prisoner cell aboard the Valthari flagship, Commander Li Juan felt the ship shake from multiple impacts. Park Min-ho smiled despite their situation. "I think our people are giving them a lesson in human warfare." Dr. Kim Nara listened to the alien voices in the corridor outside their cell. The Valthari officers sounded confused and worried. They are discovering that technology alone does not win battles. Sometimes the willingness to die for others is stronger than the best weapons. War Prime Kethval stared at his battle reports in disbelief. The humans were losing ships faster than the Valthari, but every human death caused alien casualties. This was not conquest, it was mutual destruction. "War Prime, we are receiving communications from other alien civilizations. They are asking why the battle is taking so long," reported his communications officer. For the first time in his military career, War Prime Kethval did not have a good answer. The weak, fragile humans were fighting like nothing he had ever encountered before. The space battle had been raging for 6 hours. War Prime Kethval was beginning to understand that he had made a terrible mistake. His fleet still outnumbered the humans, but every minute brought new surprises that his military training had never prepared him for. War Prime. The humans have landed troops on asteroid mining stations throughout this system, reported Sub-Commander Velenash. They are using the stations as weapon platforms and supply bases. Send destroyer squadrons to eliminate those positions immediately. War Prime Kethval studied his tactical display with growing frustration. The humans were not fighting like any civilized species should fight. Lieutenant Colonel Nam Ji-ho crouched behind a pile of metal debris on Mining Station 7. Around him, 40 human soldiers prepared their weapons for the alien assault they knew was coming. The station had no military value except as a place to attack passing enemy ships, but the humans had chosen to defend it anyway. Sir Valthari landing craft approaching. At least 200 alien soldiers, reported Sergeant Kim Dae-ho through his helmet radio. "Good. Let them land. We want them close." Nam Ji-ho checked his rifle one more time. The weapon was simple compared to alien technology, but it would do the job. The Valthari troops landed on the station and advanced in perfect formation. Their energy weapons could punch through steel walls, and their armor could stop most human bullets. They expected to clear the station quickly and efficiently. Instead, they walked into a nightmare. The humans had turned the mining station into a trap. Explosive charges hidden in the walls detonated as the aliens passed by. Sections of the station suddenly lost air pressure, sucking alien troops into space. Human soldiers appeared from ventilation shafts and maintenance tunnels, attacking from directions the Velthari had not expected. Lieutenant Colonel Nem-Ji-ho led his troops in a charge that defied every rule of military logic. Instead of taking cover and firing from safe positions, the humans ran directly at the alien soldiers. Many were killed by energy weapons, but others reached close combat range where alien armor was less effective. For Earth, 8. Nam-Ji-ho shouted as he tackled a Velthari warrior twice his size. His combat knife found the weak spot between armor plates, and the alien fell. The Velthari troops had trained for organized warfare against enemies who fought logically. They had never faced soldiers who would sacrifice themselves to kill just one enemy. The human attack was so fierce and desperate that the aliens began to retreat. "This is impossible," transmitted the Velthari ground commander. "These humans fight like wild animals. They show no concern for their own survival." Back on Earth, Dr. Song Hyami was leading her own kind of battle. While soldiers fought and died in space, she worked frantically to hack into captured Velthari computer systems. The aliens had never imagined that a primitive species could break their security codes. "I am inside their communication network," she announced to Admiral Choi Hanna. "Their ships talk to each other using automated systems. If I can disrupt those systems, do it," Admiral Choi Hanna ordered. Dr. Song Hyami had been working for 18 hours straight, living on coffee and determination. Her fingers flew over the keyboard as she planted computer viruses in the alien network. The Velthari technology was advanced, but it was also predictable. It followed logical patterns that a creative human mind could exploit. "Got it?" she announced. "Suddenly, I am uploading false targeting data to their weapon systems. Their own guns will start firing at each other." Warprime Kethval was reviewing casualty reports when alarms suddenly filled his bridge. "What is happening?" he demanded. "Warprime, our ships are firing on each other. The targeting computers have malfunctioned." Subcommander Velanash worked desperately at his controls. "I cannot override the systems." 3 Velthari cruisers opened fire on their own flagship before their crews could shut down the weapons manually. The command ship's shields absorbed the damage, but Warprime Kethval felt each impact like a personal insult. "How is this possible? Our computer security is unbreakable. We are detecting unauthorized access in our network. Someone is inside our systems." Subcommander Velanash looked up from his station with shock in his glowing eyes. "The attack is coming from the human planet." Warprime Kethval stared at the tactical display showing his own ships attacking each other. "The humans have broken our computer codes? But their technology is centuries behind ours. Warprime, I think we have underestimated these creatures in many ways." Meanwhile, Engineer Oh Sung-ho was working in the ruins of a captured Velthari scout ship that had crashed on Earth's moon. While the battle raged overhead, he was taking apart alien technology and rebuilding it in ways its creators had never imagined. This energy projector was designed to power their shields, he explained to his team of technicians. "But if we reverse the energy flow and overload the power couplings..." "Sir, that would turn it into a weapon," said technician Park Sun-ho. "Exactly. The aliens build everything for specific purposes, and never think about using their technology in different ways." Oh Sun-ho connected several alien power cells to the modified projector. "Humans are good at making things work differently than they were designed." The improvised weapon fired a beam of pure energy that cut through the hull of a passing Velthari destroyer. The alien ship lost power and began drifting helplessly through space. "It works," Oh Sung-ho grinned as he watched the enemy ship go dark. "Get me 10 more of these projectors. We are going to build weapons the aliens have never seen before." Throughout the solar system, similar scenes were playing out. Human ingenuity was turning alien advantages into weaknesses. Captain Lim Do-yeon, led a boarding party that fought through a Velthari mothership using brutal hand-to-hand combat. The aliens had never developed close-quarters fighting techniques because their technology usually kept enemies at a distance. Major Shin Mingi coordinated guerrilla attacks on alien supply lines, using captured Velthari equipment in ways that confused and frustrated the enemy. Her troops would appear suddenly, cause maximum damage, and disappear before the aliens could respond effectively. In the prisoner cell, Commander Li Guan listened to the sounds of battle echoing through the alien ship. "They are learning that humans do not fight the way other species fight," he told his companions. Dr. Kim Nara nodded. "We adapt. We improvise. Use whatever works, whether it follows proper military doctrine or not." Park Minho smiled grimly. "And we never give up, no matter how bad things look." War Prime Kethvel stood on his damaged bridge, watching his perfect fleet struggle against an enemy that refused to follow the rules of civilized warfare. For the first time in his military career, he was beginning to doubt that the Velthari Empire would win this battle. The humans were teaching his people a lesson about the difference between superior technology and superior determination. It was a lesson written in blood and sacrifice, and the aliens were learning it the hard way. The battle had been raging for 12 hours, and the Velthari fleet was discovering that their perfect military doctrine meant nothing against an enemy that refused to follow any rules at all. War Prime Kethbel watched his tactical display with growing alarm as red warning symbols appeared across his fleet status. "Status report," he commanded, though he already knew the news would be bad. Commander Velanosh checked his screens. Before answering, "We have lost 9 ships completely destroyed, 15 more heavily damaged and unable to fight effectively. The humans have lost more vessels, but somehow they continue to cause us casualties. This should be impossible. Our technology is superior in every way. War Prime, the humans are fighting like nothing we have ever encountered. They use our own equipment against us, they attack from impossible directions, and they never retreat. Even when facing certain death." Major Shin Mingi floated in space near the wreckage of a destroyed Velthari cruiser, using her suit's small thrusters to navigate between pieces of debris. Her mission was to recover alien technology that could be used against the enemy fleet. "Control, this is Minji. I have found intact weapon systems in Section 7 of the wreck. Beginning recovery operation now. Be careful, Major. We are detecting Velthari patrol ships in your area," came the voice of Admiral Choi Hanna through her helmet radio. "Understood. Control. But we need these weapons if we are going to win this fight." Major Shin Mengi had volunteered for the suicide mission because someone had to do it. Floating alone in the vacuum of space, surrounded by enemy ships, she carefully removed alien energy projectors from the wreckage. Each weapon was worth a dozen human lives if it could be properly modified. A Velthari patrol ship appeared from behind a large piece of debris, sensors searching for human activity. Major Shin Menji shut down all her suit systems and drifted silently among the wreckage, holding her breath as the alien ship passed within a few meters of her position. When the patrol ship moved away, she activated her suit radio. "Control, I have recovered for intact weapon systems. Sending coordinates for pickup." "Negative, Major. Too dangerous. Abort mission and return to base." "Admiral, these weapons could change the entire battle. I am not leaving without them." Major Shin Mingi attached the alien devices to her suit and began the long journey back to the hidden base on Earth's moon. Engineer Sun Ho was waiting for her when she arrived. His workshop had become a center of human innovation. Were captured. Alien technology was rebuilt into weapons the Velthari had never imagined. "Major, these energy projectors are perfect," he said as he examined her recovered equipment. "I can combine them with our missile systems to create guided weapons that use alien power sources." "How long will that take?" asked Major Shin Minji. "Give me 6 hours and I will have prototypes ready for testing." While Oh Sun-ho worked on new weapons, Captain Lim Do-yan was leading the most dangerous mission of the war. His team of 30 soldiers had boarded a Velthari command ship by hiding inside a piece of space debris that the aliens had pulled into their cargo bay. "Remember, we are not here to capture the ship," he whispered to his troops as they prepared to leave their hiding place. "We are here to cause as much damage as possible and learn about their command systems." The Velthari ship was not designed for internal security. The aliens never expected enemies to board their vessels, because no civilized species had ever attempted such a primitive tactic. Captain Lim Doyen and his soldiers moved through the ship's corridors like ghosts, using maintenance tunnels and ventilation shafts to avoid detection. Team 1, take the power distribution center. Team 2, head for the communications array. Team 3, follow me to the bridge. Captain Lim Doyen checked his weapon one final time. It was a simple human rifle, modified to fire alien energy. Charges that Oh Soon-ho had developed. The attack began simultaneously in 3 locations. Explosions echoed through the alien ship as human soldiers sabotaged critical systems. The Velthari crew rushed to respond, but they had never trained for this type of internal warfare. On the bridge, Captain Lim Doyen fought hand-to-hand with Velthari officers who were twice his size and strength. But the aliens had never learned to fight without their advanced weapons and armor. The human soldiers used knives, bare hands, and improvised weapons to overcome their physically superior enemies. For every human who has died today, Captain Lim Doyen shouted as he planted explosive charges on the ship's main computer core. The detonation crippled the Velthari command vessel and sent it drifting powerless through space. Captain Lim Doyen and most of his soldiers died in the explosion, but their sacrifice disabled one of the enemy's most important ships. Dr. Song Hyami watched the results of the boarding action from her computer station on Earth. Admiral, we are receiving data transmissions from Captain Lim's team. They managed to download the alien command codes before the ship was destroyed. What can we do with those codes? Asked Admiral Choi Hana. I can use them to access other Velthari ships. Maybe even give orders to their automated systems. Dr. Song Hyame was already working to break the alien encryption. Give me 2 hours and I can turn their own fleet against them. War Prime Kethfel was trying to coordinate his damaged fleet when new disasters began striking his remaining ships. Weapon systems shut down randomly, life support failed on several vessels, and navigation computers sent ships flying in the wrong directions. What is happening to our fleet? He demanded. War Prime, the humans are inside our command network. They're giving orders to our own computers. Subcommander Velenash looked terrified. Our ships are following human commands. Instead of ours, cut all computer connections. Switch to manual control immediately. But it was too late. 3 Velthari destroyers had already changed course and were flying directly toward their own mothership. Following orders from Dr. Song Hyami's computer programs, War Prime Kethvel watched in horror as his own ships approached on a collision. Course, emergency maneuvers. Get us away from those ships. The Velthari flagship managed to avoid a direct collision. But the 3 destroyers crashed into each other in a massive explosion that lit up the space around Earth like a new star. The shock wave damaged several other alien vessels and sent debris flying in all directions. Throughout the galaxy, other alien civilizations watched the battle with growing amazement. What had started as entertainment was becoming something unprecedented. The weak humans were not only surviving against the mighty Velthari Empire, they were winning. How is this possible? Clicked Thex of the Zeph Council. The humans have inferior technology and fewer ships. Elder Nalesh of the Aquatic Murtai bubbled thoughtfully. Perhaps we have misjudged what makes a species strong. The humans fight with something the Velthari do not understand. War Chief Brulak of the Warrior Korth growled with new respect. These humans fight like true warriors. They would rather die than surrender their homeworld. Back in the prisoner cell, Commander? Li Guan listened to the sounds of panic in the alien ship's corridors. I think our people are teaching the galaxy something important about humanity, he said to his companions. Dr. Kim Nara smiled. They are learning that humans are not weak just because we are small. Sometimes the strongest weapon is the willingness to never give up. Park Min-ho nodded as another explosion shook the ship. The aliens thought this would be easy. They are discovering that nothing involving humans is ever easy. War Prime Kethvel stood among the wreckage of his command bridge, finally understanding that he had made the greatest mistake of his military career. The humans were not weak. They were something far more dangerous than any enemy the Velthari Empire had ever faced. They were survivors who would rather die fighting than live as slaves. The final phase of the battle began 18 hours after the Velthari fleet had arrived at. Warprime Kethvel stood on his damaged bridge, surrounded by the ruins of what had once been the most powerful military force in the galaxy. Half. His ships were destroyed or disabled, and the humans showed no signs of stopping their relentless attacks. Warprime, we are receiving emergency communications from the Velthari High Command, reported Subcommander Velanash. They are demanding to know why the conquest is taking so long. Tell them. Warprime Kethvel paused, struggling to find words that would explain the impossible situation. Tell them the humans are not what we expected. Admiral Choi Hanna stood in the Earth Defense Command Center. Watching the tactical display that showed the enemy fleet in complete disarray, her forces had suffered terrible losses, but they had achieved something no other species had ever done. They had fought the Velthari Empire to a standstill. Admiral, we are detecting power failures throughout the enemy fleet, reported Captain Bei Suben. Dr. Song's computer attacks have crippled most of their remaining ships. Good, now we finish this. Admiral Choi Hanna opened a communication channel to all remaining human forces. All units, this is Admiral Choi Hanna. Execute final assault plan. Make every shot count. The last act of the battle was unlike anything the galaxy had ever witnessed. Instead of a grand space battle between organized fleets, it became a desperate struggle between human determination and alien technology. Small groups of human fighters swarmed around massive Velthari ships like angry insects, using captured alien weapons and improvised tactics to bring down enemies 10 times their size. Commander Bei Suben led the final assault on Warprime Kethvel's flagship. His new fighter was built from parts of destroyed Velthari ships, powered by alien energy cores and armed with weapons that engineer Oh Seung-ho had created from captured technology. All fighters target the flagship's main engines. Disable their propulsion, they cannot escape. Commander Bei Suben flew his hybrid fighter directly into the alien ship's defensive fire. Around him, other human pilots did the same, each one willing to die to protect their homeworld. The Velthari flagship fought back with everything it had, but its weapons were designed to fight other high-technology civilizations. The human fighters were too small, too fast, too unpredictable for the alien targeting systems to track effectively. Warprime Kethvel felt his ship shudder as human weapons tore through its armor. How are their primitive weapons penetrating our defenses? Warprime, they're using our own technology against us. Somehow, they have learned to modify our equipment in ways we never imagined possible. Subcommander Velanash sounded defeated. Our advantages mean nothing if they can turn them into human advantages. In the prisoner's cell, Commander Li Juan heard the sound of human voices in the corridor outside. The cell door suddenly opened, and 3 human soldiers in captured Velthari armor entered. Commander Li, we are here to get you out, said the lead soldier. How did you get aboard this ship? Asked Dr. Kim Nara in amazement. Same way we have done everything else in this war, Doctor. We improvised. Soldier helped them out of the cell. Admiral Choi Hanna sends her regards, she thought. You might want to be present when we accept the alien surrender. As they made their way through the damaged alien ship, Commander Li Guan saw Velthari crew members working frantically to repair systems that human sabotage had destroyed. The mighty aliens who had seemed so confident just hours ago now looked confused and desperate. On the bridge, Warprime Kethvel made the most difficult decision of his military career. Open a communication channel to the human commander. Warprime, surely we can still... Subcommander Velanash began. Look around you. Half our fleet is destroyed, our computer systems are compromised, and our ships are being torn apart by an enemy we cannot understand. This battle is over. Admiral Choi Hanna appeared on the main screen of the Velthari flagship. She looked tired but determined, and her voice was steady as she spoke. This is Admiral Choi Hanna of Earth Defense Command. You ready to discuss? Terms Warprime Kethvel studied the human woman on his screen. She was small and fragile-looking, nothing like the mighty warriors his people respected. But she had defeated the greatest military force in the galaxy using nothing but human determination and ingenuity. I am War Prime Kethful of the Velthari Empire. We request a ceasefire to discuss withdrawal from your system. Withdrawal? Admiral Choi Hanna's expression hardened. War Prime, you came here to conquer our world and enslave our people. You broadcast your intentions to the entire galaxy as entertainment. Now you want to just leave? What do you want from us? War Prime Kethfel asked, though he feared the answer. I want you to broadcast another message to all those alien civilizations that were watching. Tell them what you learned about humanity. Today, War Prime Kethfel understood. Humans did not just want to win this battle. They wanted to change how the entire galaxy viewed their species. The transmission went out across known space, reaching every civilization that had watched. The battle. War Prime Kethfel appeared on screens throughout the galaxy. But now he looked very different from the confident conqueror who had broadcast his arrival. This is War Prime Kethfel of the Velthari Empire. I am broadcasting from the human system. Of Sol, we came here expecting an easy conquest of a primitive species. We were wrong. He paused, struggling with words that went against everything he had believed about military superiority. The humans are not weak because their technology is simple. They are not inferior because their bodies are fragile. We learned today that true strength comes not from advanced weapons or thick armor, but from the willingness to fight for something greater than yourself. Throughout the galaxy, alien civilizations listened with growing amazement. Defeated our fleet not through superior technology, but through determination, creativity, and sacrifice. They fought with a courage we did not understand and used tactics we had never encountered. Every human who died in this battle chose death over surrender, and their sacrifice gave strength to those who survived. War Prime Kethfal looked directly into the camera as he delivered his final words. Let this be a warning to any civilization that considers humanity weak or primitive. These creatures possess something more dangerous than any weapon we have ever faced. They possess the human spirit, and it cannot be conquered by force. The transmission ended, and silence filled the galaxy as thousands of alien species absorbed what they had witnessed. 3 days later, Earth received its first official diplomatic contact from the Zeph Council. We wish to establish peaceful relations with the human species, came the message. We believe there is much we can learn from each other. Similar messages arrived from dozens of other civilizations. The weak, primitive species that no one had cared about had suddenly become the most talked about civilization in the galaxy. Admiral Choi Hanna stood on the observation deck of Earth's primary space station, watching the last of the Velthari ships disappear into faster-than-light travel. The aliens were leaving, but they would never forget what they had learned about humanity. Admiral, we are receiving another diplomatic request, reported Captain Bae Subin, this time from the Murtai. They want to discuss cultural exchange programs. Accept their request. Schedule a meeting for next week. Admiral Choi Hanna smiled as she watched the stars. I think humanity's about to become very popular in the galaxy. Dr. Song Hyami joined her at the observation window. Do you think other species will try to test us like the Velthari did? Probably. But now they know what happens when someone underestimates humanity. We may be small and fragile compared to other species, but we have something they do not understand. What is that? Admiral Choi Hanna looked out at the vast universe that was suddenly full of new possibilities. We have each other, and we will never stop fighting for the people we love. In the distance, Earth continued its ancient rotation around the sun, carrying 7 billion humans who had just taught the galaxy a lesson about the true meaning of strength.